Hold on. What's up, everybody? It's Chris from Ground to Beef. Those of you that have been with me know, have seen Knucklehead here, aka Georgia. She did good over the winter. I'm just in here cutting up an old tree that I knocked down before I put her in here, and I just wanted to give you a quick update. She will be in here for the Airbnb. People can see her, and I won't let them get manhandled, but she just thinks she still needs a bottle. She's not on a bottle, but she keeps trying to grab my arm, and which actually feels really good. I don't mean that in a creepy way. Like, she'll grab that muscle and just like she's not biting. She's just trying to grab that like a nipple, but because she was bottle raised, obviously, because she's blind. But I also wanted to talk about why we picked this breed, the whiteface Herefords. My grandfather always had a black Angus. When I was growing up, they had the dairy cows before I came along. Then he sold them out and bought a bunch of Angus, and we had the Angus, but I got kicked several times. They destroyed the barn. We used to give them grain in there in the winter, and when they would go away, as you all know, if any of you have cattle or animals, the minute you leave town, the animals decide to get out. So we didn't live here, like we lived a town over. So my mom and I, or my dad and I, would have to come over here and get the cows in. And this is a real big pain in the butt. You know, the fences weren't real good then, and you know, he was just older. And so anyways, we sold the Angus, and then in 93, I think it was 93, I bought my first 3 cows, and I bought whiteface Herefords from a buddy of mine, and realized they were a lot more docile. And as we went along, we continued to grain them in the winter. So we do, like my grandfather said, 80% grass and 20% grain. That's how I was raised. And then as we sold meat and I got wrapped around other customers, they wanted all grass fed. You know, that started to become pretty known that grass fed was better. And so then I went down those rabbit holes and started doing research. And then we bought in more whiteface Herefords, and they do really well on the grass, like way better than the Angus do. I'm sure there's people that are going to disagree, but having both of them, the whiteface Herefords do way better. They're a lot more docile. It takes a little bit longer for them to grow, but they're an old breed that were raised, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe it was in Scotland. I could be wrong. It's somewhere over there. And they were raised on the hills and stuff over there for the grass, you know, to forage. And for a little while, you might see in the herd, we have some white belted Galloway's with a white belt on them. We tried those. Those are supposed to be really good for the hills. They also, I believe, came from Scotland or Ireland. I think one or the other. I might have them backwards. And they actually do really well here. They get a lot of the weeds that these knuckleheads don't get. They eat a lot of stuff that these guys won't eat. But But I got a bad batch of them. They came from a farm that he had a lot of inbreeding, and I didn't know that. So we've sent a lot of them to the butcher, but we've kept a couple that are doing really well. But for the most part, we have the whiteface Herefords. We tried the black baldies, which are whiteface Hereford and Angus. So there'll be a black cow with a white face, and they're called black baldies. We had those for a while. I didn't mind them, but still they were a little bit wild. So we just weeded all them out, and we pretty much just have the whiteface Herefords now. So that's the explanation why we have the whiteface Herefords. They're just more mellow, most of them. We don't have all the issues that we had with the Angus. And you have to remember, they were purebred Angus. This was years ago when we had them. Like I was a kid, and I'm 53 now. So this was back when I was, in my teenage years, even before that. So they were really a purebred Angus. Now you have a lot of crosses, and I question what is actually purebred. But I don't know. We have a closed herd, which means we don't typically bring in any outside stuff. So because we were buying a bunch of stuff at auction and raising them on grass for meat, and that was okay. But you get a lot of disease sometimes when you go to the auction. So with getting away from having a place to segregate them, we just don't do that anymore. So that's why we chose the whiteface Herefords. They're not a huge cow, and it's better for this time of year when everything's turning to mud. So they don't punch everything up. They do where I've been feeding them. It's kind of been a challenge because I've been feeding them up near the barn to block the wind. But now that it's mud, like it's turning into mush, and it's just not good. But we're gonna fix that this year. This year I'm putting in new pastures. So next year I'm hoping to have just a winter pasture where they can just be over there and for the winter, and that is the only part that will get punched up, and the rest of it, we'll let them out as the grass grows, and then we'll do a really good rotation, and I'll bring you along for all that. But to wrap it up, that's why we picked the whiteface Herefords. It's just that they worked out really well for us. So with that, I'm gonna go try to cut up the rest of the wood in this pen. I'm just trying to get it out of here. So it's one less thing I got to do when spring really hits. So with that, I'm going to try to get over there and get away from her. So get to know a farmer. Meat prices are going to go up. Egg prices are already up. So make relationships with those farmers. Buy your local meat and eggs, bread, whatever you can get from them. And I will talk to you on the next one.